me now is Senior Congress MP, the party's communication in charge, Jairam Ramesh, joining me from a rather cold Srinagar. Appreciate your joining us, Jairam Ramesh. The arduous Yatra is over, Kanyakumari to Kashmir. What are the three big benefits you think this Yatra has actually given your party today?
Well, Rajdeep, don't reduce the Yatra to an event. We are not event managers. The Bharat Jodo Yatra is a movement. And it's a long-term movement and it's an ideological movement. But in terms of short-term gains, if you're asking me that question, I think first and foremost, we have demonstrated a collective sense of purpose, a collective sense of solidarity in the Congress party organization. It has been enthused beyond imagination, and the younger generation of congressmen and congresswomen have really put their heart and soul together to make this Yatra a grand success. So I think a revival and rejuvenation of the Congress is certainly one very big gain. The second big gain, of course, is the fact that the real Mr. Rahul Gandhi, free from the social media insults and distortions of his image that have taken place over the last 8 years, has emerged and is visible to the people of the country. And the third big gain is that the Yatra, and Mr. Gandhi particularly, has highlighted through the Yatra the fact that we are now in an ideological battle with the RSS and the BJP, the fact that we are fighting against economic inequalities, against social polarization, and against political dictatorship. I think these are the issues that he has been able to highlight through the length of this 136-day, 4,000-kilometer Yatra. But as he himself said this afternoon in Srinagar, this Yatra was carried out by the Congress party. Congressmen and women were involved in the Yatra, but he did this Yatra not for the party per se, but for the country, to bring the country together, a fractured country, the partition of the minds, so to speak, that we have today because of social polarization. So I think these are some of the big gains in the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
But the fact is, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, you are a political party and Rahul Gandhi is a politician. So there will be questions naturally raised about whether this Yatra has brought you any political benefits. Even today in Srinagar, we didn't see many of the opposition parties that you had invited even being there along with Rahul Gandhi as a show of solidarity. So the question arises, will this make the Congress more electorally viable? Will it make it a magnet for opposition unity? None of those questions seem to have been addressed by the Yatra.
These are questions in your mind, Rajdeep, and these are questions in the minds of a large army of armchair commentators who are prepared to write off the Congress party.
No, I'm not writing off, Jairam Ramesh, let me clarify, I'm not writing off the Congress party, I'm asking you questions.
I'm giving you an answer. The question in our minds was not electoral benefits. The question in Mr. Rahul Gandhi's mind was not immediate electoral benefit either in 2023 or in 2024. The question uppermost in his mind and the question uppermost in the minds of all Bharat Yatris is, we are now engaged in an ideological struggle. We are more than an electoral machine. We have to join the battle of ideas and ideologies with the BJP and the RSS, and I think this is what we have done. If there is a foundation laid for working together with other political parties, so be it. But I think the fundamental driving force of the Yatra was to recognize that there are severe threats to Indian democracy, there are severe threats to the Indian Republic from growing economic inequality, from growing social polarization, and from political authoritarianism, which is a direct consequence of the personality and the policies of the Prime Minister. So, you know, we never thought, चुनाव में क्या होगा, इसका क्या नतीजा होगा, चुनाव में हमें कोई फायदा होगा कि नहीं. These were questions that were never raised either before or during the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
The reason I ask you this is we just did a Mood of the Nation poll last week and it showed again that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, if the poll is to be believed, is poised for a hat-trick in 2024. In that sense, how do you respond to the belief that the Yatra has not been able to capture the political imagination of those outside the Congress's echo chambers?
I disagree with you completely, Rajdeep. I disagree with you completely. It's very easy to sit in Delhi and say it has not captured the political imagination. It has captured the political imagination of large lakhs and lakhs of people in the 12 states and the union territories that, the Bharat Jodo Yatra has
Mainly
gone.
Congress workers.
Anybody who has covered the regional media, anybody who looks at the regional media, anybody who has walked in the Bharat Jodo Yatra and seen the Bharat Jodo Yatra through an objective lens, not through a blinkered lens, will recognize that this has really captured the imagination not only of Congress supporters, not only of Congress workers, but also of people who were ambivalent towards the Congress, who have turned away from the Congress for some reason or the other, and it has even captured the imagination of critics of the Congress party. So I entirely disagree with you when you say that it has not captured the political imagination. It may not have captured the imagination of the pollsters, who do these polls once in a while. These polls, these polls are polls. But we have to engage in yatras like this. We are doing our dharma. Now, what is going to happen in the elections in 2023? What's going to happen in the, 2024? We have launched a campaign, the Haath Se Haath Jodo campaign, that was launched on the 26th of January. And that was precisely with the objectives that you have set out. How do you translate the goodwill and the support of the Bharat Jodo Yatra into electoral support from the people? And that is why we are taking a one-page message from Mr. Rahul Gandhi. We are having a one-page chart sheet against the failures of the Modi government, and our Congress workers are taking it from door to door in every Gram Panchayat, in every village, and in every polling booth of the country. It's a massive outreach exercise that has started quietly. The Bharat Jodo Yatra has dominated the narrative, but from now on, for the next 3 months, it is going to be the Haath Se Haath Jodo Abhiyan.
So you're saying that the next stage is organizational rebuilding, a sense of reaching out to the people at the booth level. It's not...
Absolutely.
So you accept that is really the next big challenge that your party faces?
Absolutely. The Bharat Jodo Yatra, Mr. Gandhi has said repeatedly, ये पहला कदम है और ये एक छोटा कदम है. I think both are important. It's a first step and it's a small step. And whether this translates into electoral benefit, and I entirely agree with you, we are not an NGO. We have ultimately to fight elections. We fight elections, we win some, we lose some, but we have to fight elections. And I entirely agree with you that it's the organizational ability, the organizational strength, the organizational unity, discipline and solidarity that will ultimately determine whether the Bharat Jodo Yatra was successful electorally.
Will it be followed by an East...
Stick my neck out, Rajdeep, I'll stick my neck out and say, the Bharat Jodo Yatra has been a tremendous success emotionally. It has been a tremendous success intellectually. It has been a tremendous success ideologically. Will it be a success politically? Will it be a success electorally? I would say it's been a success politically as well. I take that back. But whether it will be a success electorally, time alone will tell, and that will depend entirely on the Congress party organization.
May I ask you what then will be Rahul Gandhi's role as we go ahead? Will there be another yatra that he will lead, East-West Yatra? Is this the role he's going to play of a party ideologue of sorts? Or is he willing now to position himself much more frontally, having given up the party presidentship, and take on a more frontal role? What is the role that we expect Rahul Gandhi to play, since you claim that this yatra has brought out the real Rahul Gandhi?
Well, you'll wait and see. Parliament is going to be in session from day after tomorrow. Then we have a Congress plenary on the 24th, 25th and 26th of February in Raipur. We have 9 assembly elections in 2023. So it's a very busy year. And of course, the big enchilada, so to speak, in 2024 is the Lok Sabha election. What precise role Mr. Gandhi will play? Of course, he's a member of parliament. And, he is a pivotal figure in the Congress party organization. He has always been. But I think after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, he has been finally freed from the caricaturing and lampooning that has been indulged in by the social media and the mainstream media at the behest of the BJP.
One final question. Are you saying, therefore, that you believe this yatra has established the Congress also as a magnet in a way for all those forces ideologically opposed to this government, some in politics, some outside politics, and you therefore expect political parties to join a wider movement or a political coalition under the leadership of the Congress? Is that the hope?
Well, Rajdeep, I don't want to use words like under the leadership and so on. These are, very loaded terms. But I will tell you this, that I get, having walked in the Yatra from day one and having interacted with lots and lots of people who are not necessarily friendly towards the Congress in the course of these 136 days, I can tell you that although this Yatra was started by the Congress party, and the Yatris were Congress workers and Congress leaders like Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it has struck a chord in the minds and hearts of people across the political spectrum, across the ideological spectrum. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go and vote for the Congress next time they have an opportunity, but I think the Congress is being seen in new light. The Congress has now set the narrative, not only for itself, but for the entire political class, for the entire political establishment. So I think in the battlefield of ideas, in the battlefield of ideologies, in the battlefield of public contact, the Congress is back to being where it was.
And how will you respond to the BJP which says before Bharat Jodo, first ensure Congress Jodo? They've been saying this right through the Yatra and they continue to say it. They give evidence of all that's happened in Rajasthan, the faction fight, Gehlot versus pilot camp, Sitaramaiah versus
We are a democratic party. We are a democratic party. Opinions are aired freely. There is a Lakshman Rekha, of course, but there is no atmosphere of fear. I have described this in Hindi. I can't translate it into English very easily, but I'm sure you will understand. हमारे देश के सामने दो रास्ते हैं. एक रास्ते में एक तंत्र का तोप चलाया जा रहा है और दूसरे रास्ते में लोकतंत्र की शहनाई बजा रही है. So in a way, it's a battle between the Ek Tantra Ka Top, the cannon of one man rule or one man army versus the playing of the Shanai, the diversities of India. So I think that's really the positioning of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. We are celebrating diversities, and what we are telling the people of India is only if you celebrate diversities will you strengthen unity. If you try to bring about uniformity, like the BJP and the RSS does, you endanger your unity.
You didn't answer my question about how you're going to bring the Congress party together, all these faction fights.
The Congress party is very much together, Rajdeep. The Congress party, people have written epitaphs for the Congress party time and time again. It's a favorite pastime, not only of the right-wingers, but it's also a favorite pastime of people, in the center, the left liberal crowd. But the reports of the death of the Congress have always been largely exaggerated. Okay. It will never die.
You're sounding like Mark Twain. Let me end by asking you, you've traveled for much of the Yatra. What for you has been the most durable experience that you seem to have lost weight, I can see, but quite apart from that, what is the most enduring image for you of this Yatra?
Well, it was a constant struggle between mind and body every day. The body said no, and the mind said yes, and the mind always won. So, at my age, I'm turning 69 in 3 months' time. And of course, I had an inspiration, a 75-year-old Digvijay Singh, who's going to be 76, who's fitter than me. But for me, speaking for myself personally, it was a tremendous experience, a tremendous learning experience. And I got to see, I've seen most of the parts of India that I went through, but that was, as a minister or, as in a different capacity, not actually walking, staying in a container for 136 days. So it's a life-altering experience, Rajdeep. It really is a life-altering experience. And seeing Mr. Rahul Gandhi, seeing his endurance, seeing his tenacity, sheer resilience that he demonstrated, it was a great inspiration for all of us. And not only Mr. Rahul Gandhi, there were 200 other congressmen and congresswomen who were Bharat Yatris from across the country. So, as I said, it's a life-altering, transformative experience. And I think one shouldn't make fun of the Yatra. I think the Yatra is a very somber, very serious exercise of the Congress party. It's not a tamasha. It's not a G20 type of an event. It's not an event. That's why I said. Okay. It's not an event. It's a movement. And it's a long-term movement. It's not Not something for 2 years.
You mentioned Digvijay Singh, I didn't, so I have to ask you, do you want to apologize for the manner in which you pushed aside the Aaj Tak camera when we tried to ask questions to Mr. Digvijay Singh about the surgical strike?
I always look ahead. Never apologize. Has the Prime Minister ever apologized for all the things that he has done and said?
But you could have done it differently.
You know, it's easy to sit in a studio and say you could have done it differently. When you're on the spot, the pressures are multiple, and people are not nice, particularly, you know, people trying to force a mic into your mouth. So I don't regret it. I wish things had happened differently.
That's fair enough. I think that at least admitting that things could have happened differently is a start. But Jairam Ramesh, it has been a yatra in a way that clearly has been there in the media eye for the last few months, and therefore stay warm in Srinagar, and may you continue to walk in Lodi Garden now instead of across the countryside. Thank you.
Yeah, from Godi media to Lodi media.
Okay, let's leave it there. Jairam Ramesh, you got your one back on me. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.